Είναι μια ημερίδα καινοτομίας παράλληλα.
Well, it's an event about innovation. So, President, I propose that you call the next speaker, promoting strengthening intra-European cooperation, extroversion 2030. Now, for the next speaker, the introduction will be done by the president, who has worked a lot for this relationship. Well, I haven't worked much because Mr. Theodoropoulos is a very flexible person and very progressive. That was easy. Thank you, Spyros Theodoropoulos. Welcome. We were together in a very interesting panel yesterday in Ελληνική παραγωγή, Hellenic production. Mr. Theodoropoulos, I would like to welcome you. I would like to thank you for your support. It's the first time that we've seen so much progressivity in SEV. In the previous mandate, we came even closer in SEV. We had already taken the first steps with your predecessors. Now we are giving a message to the government as a team. SEF speaks for over depreciation. We follow them up in the same direction. We support them. So, Mr. Theodoropoulos, the issues of Greece are also European issues nowadays, and that's why this forum was made international. As I said before, today many news came up, not only about Greece but also Europe. We had the ex-Vice Chancellor, Mr. Habeck, who made important proposals. Sambuk, the journalist from the Financial Times, also said and made proposals about how Greece and other smaller countries can create a Europe of multiple speeds. In the past, some countries were our support, and now we can become catalysts. The smaller countries can do that. For example, Spain has already started a constellation of 6 or 7 countries in awaiting the Franco-German axis. Mr. Theodoropoulos, I want to mention the positions of ANE, but we've heard with great interest the proposal about the European Union Inc. It's a European, let's say, legislation for the establishment, the incorporation of companies. This is a bypass because Europe maybe has lost much time in trying to bring different legislations together. As you know, Euronext Bybit, and I hope it will be a success because it will connect the Athens Stock Exchange with another 7 stock exchanges. We are in Euronext, next in Amsterdam, which made Amsterdam better. So what was explained is that it was difficult for them to persuade the local bureaucracies, if I can call it like that, to change things, because for them buying a stock exchange is the first step. The second step is to persuade the local government to harmonize, because indeed this is not right. And the issue, Mr. Theodoropoulos, is, and that's one of the biggest reforms, to have things like a CAP, which was a bypass. And of course, Mr. Theodoropoulos, we are always there to support you. We need to promote this idea, to stop waiting for Europe to persuade 28 countries as the speakers, because even if whatever the subject is, the capital markets or anything, the countries in this system will be able to use their own national system together with the European one. Mr. Theodoropoulos, I said that yesterday you are my mentor, and you were even before I met you. And your work as a businessman, your success is what brought you here and made you a president of SEV. It was a happy moment yesterday when I saw you in Hellenic Paragogή. It's a great honor for you, for the Theodoropoulos Group, and for us. Before we had here the Greek Confederation of Labour, and we honored you at the gala for the good relationship. Well, when we stop fighting with each other, we Greeks, we can do miracles. And sometimes we have this complex, this is mine, this is my organization. Well, we're not interested in those fights. We will support SEV or Hellenic Paragogή. We will support anybody as long as the ideas are good. And finally, I would like to say that you have said two important things. Recently, I've been parroting you, even without your permission. You said that, number one, for depreciation today, we had a very, and the government stated that about depreciation, that they will do something about it, and quite soon. That's one thing, because you were the first one to say that 10% is not enough if in the third year in a high-tech environment things lose their value. And I'm more of a muzakedin than you in this. Well, some simple things have to happen horizontally. For instance, with depreciations. Instead of having to rush and go before a committee, a European or national one, to for them to judge whether their investment plan is good. Well, we understand the necessity because this is a distribution of funds, state or European funds, but over depreciation is a decision that the businessman has to make. And you were very right. That's all. I don't want to tire you. Welcome, call you to the podium, and thank you very much.
Κύριε Χατζημινά, καταρχήν σας ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ για τα καλά.
Thank you very much for your kind words. I hope at least half of those words, I'm worthy of at least half of those words. Thank you for inviting me to this forum, Bayene. My belief is that the more we are, the stronger our voice sounds, and the more things we do together, the more chances we have to achieve good results for entrepreneurship, for which we have been fighting. We know that the legacy, the property of a country is its entrepreneurship. The state redistributes this wealth. This wealth, however, is created by us. Apart from anything else, your Congress this year, which speaks about inter-European cooperation, is very successful. Well, things are better said than done, as you know, because at the European level, the depth and width of the single market shows how national competitions and perceptions have prevailed. In March 2000, in Lisbon, European leaders undertook the commitment to make the EU the most competitive and strong economy in the world, with more jobs, better social cohesion, and respect for the environment. 10 years later, without having achieved those objectives, the strategy was renamed Strategy for Europe 2020. In 2006, Jean-Claude Juncker was saying that there is not enough Europe in this union, and there is not enough union in this Europe. Today we are restating the same issues. We are defining, we are saying that the strategy for the single market as defined in the Draghi and Letta reports is, let's say, what we need to achieve. Despite the progress, the market remains fragmented, full of obstacles for the business environment that keep European productivity very low. Indicatively, let me mention the following things. On the administrative level, we have many frameworks and different standards, very complex licensing procedures, different systems for the control at the customs, and of course bureaucracy, sometimes too much effort. Our systems are not harmonized, the VAT processes are complex, and of course competition is distorted in favor of the wealthy countries. Many markets for the provision of services are closed, and there are 27 systems for the certification and licensing in technical professions and other sectors. There are obstacles in more than 5,700 regulated trades, which is more than 22% of the labor force in the EU. There is discontinuity in transport and, of course, in infrastructure, digital telecommunication, etc. Of course, we have also seen 68 different obstacles in the internal single market, which come from the regulations of the EU. As Mr. Draghi said, these are equal to tariffs 45% for products and 110% for services. The consequences are obvious, are visible. It's the first time after a long time that unification, i.e. the percentage of European GDP as depicted in the intra-European trade went down from 26 to 24% in 2023. In the US, it is 22%. And of course, 8% are the obstacles, and this is not strange. Of course, 50% of those obstacles remain the same in 20 years. In technology, only 4 out of the biggest companies are in Europe, and none of the most important in terms of value companies was created in the last 50 years. Artificial intelligence does not have any European companies at its help. 41% of European businesses think that regulatory obstacles make their approach difficult. And this, according to the Commission, is an important cause for the reduction from 36% in 2019 to 4% in 2023 of obstacles. In 1 out of 4 companies, this is a main obstacle for their investments. In the US, it's only 21%. Productivity rather, of employment, which is the most important thing, although it improved in 2023, it is still at very low levels as opposed to the US, less than 78%. And at a moment when services contribute to more or less 40% of the added value in industry in Europe, when the percentage in the US is 20%. Now, the European Union is faced with big challenges as regards the strengthening of its production base in an era of intense competition to make sure that its defense capabilities are good and to create a balanced model of globalization. We have to increase and improve intra-European cooperation in practice. This means to improve and strengthen the internal market in Europe. Of course, this endeavor has as a prerequisite the combination of several policies that have not harmonized with the single market rules yet. And of course, this is an intensification of an effort that started recently to radically simplify European laws. And I'm talking about intensification because although the effort to reduce obstacles is in the right direction, we have a big problem. The program of the European Commission was issued a few days ago. It's 29 pages and speaks about 46 initiatives and a review of another 20. We also have the omnibus, which are packages of regulatory simplification that will save 9 billion euros for businesses on a yearly basis. However, an exercise that the Danish presidency made showed that the estimated cost for businesses from the European legislative proposals of the Commission is more than 65 billion in lump sum expenses. As for the unification of capital markets and bank markets, we have to approach and mobilize investments in order to attract venture capital, and this is important. And we have to have stronger banks because each one of us has different needs. For instance, savings are not the same in the north and in the south. The same goes for our financial education. We have some phenomena of nationalism in economy. Unicredit, the increase of its participation in Commerzbank came across important reactions. When at the European level, the ECB was clearly for this, saying that cross-border mergers are important if they create bigger organizations that will make European banks more competitive and able to support new technologies. And of course, now we need a new direction in terms of investments because we don't have a strategic planning in Europe. Let me make a parenthesis here. In the previous 15 years, we've been shooting on a daily basis on our industry, and we've made Europe de-industrialized at a great extent. Well, there's an example that actually impressed me. The green policy of Europe closed down many aluminum businesses and factories in Europe. From those factories, the CO2 footprint was reduced by 6 million tons per year. But we needed to have aluminum and we had to import it. Finally, we imported it from countries where the factories had less environmental protections than the factories we closed down. As a result, for the same quantity of aluminum that we did not produce but imported, the emissions to the atmosphere were 16 million CO2. And of course, we lost jobs, we lost protection for the European GDP, and we harmed the planet more than we wanted. As for the issue of energy with the clean industrial deal, Europe has started to realize that it is needed to correct its mistakes of a rushed green transition. It seems that a more balanced approach is being shaped, decarbonization together with increased competitiveness. However, we don't have good industrial planning. When Japan actually studied where it was lagging behind and it started producing semiconductors, they supported their production with $16 billion. And in Europe, we have the important joint European interest projects that have to do with energy, defense, and technology. And since 2018, however, we only have 11 plans of this sort that have been approved. So it is important to note that further intra-European cooperation is needed for such initiatives to be implemented. And of course, we need more cooperation to improve innovation. This is a cooperative procedure. Europe is trying to compete with the US and China, and we have none of our companies at the top of the globe. There are chain reactions that are created when we have this pharmaceuticals, energy, materials, defense. These are some of the sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to close by saying that intra-European cooperation is a lever for growth and the global competitiveness of Europe. If we have better unification of our markets, we can reduce cross-border obstacles that actually exist because there are asymmetries in terms of tax and regulations. If we have capital and bank union, we will have more liquidity, better financing for businesses, especially the SMEs, and the EU will become more resilient to crisis. And if we have a joint effort by governments and other entities, we will support the European economy and accelerate the transition to a green transition model. Well, we have some economic nationalisms and ideas that are still prevalent. However, in a globalized environment, we have to be quick and easily adapt. That's why European cooperation is a strategic necessity for a Europe that wants to innovate, produce, and export value in a rapidly changing world. Thank you very much for being here and listening to me.